As promised, the long overdue construction video has arrived. Hopefully it is not too late and you can learn a thing or two from it. This is an expansion project and I have no doubt that persons watching are very well aware that building in Jamaica is a costly and sometimes very challenging venture, especially those persons who are currently engaged in the construction of their homes, renovations, or other building projects. The cost of materials continue to trend upwards, and with the cost of living heading in a similar direction, construction workers are likely to charge to match this particular trend. This is the plan for the expansion. The size is 85.6 square meters or approximately 921.4 square feet. For anyone watching who may find it a bit challenging to understand this particular architectural drawing, the expansion is the section with the red corners. The other section is the original structure. The expansion comprises 2 bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, built-in closets, a small veranda, and a garage. I will show some aspects of the construction in progress so that you can better put things in context, and I will provide a breakdown of the labor cost involved in the completion. Aspects of the material cost will also be included. This project is being completed in phases, so the cost breakdown will be quoted based on each phase. The first 2 phases, which included the block lane and the decking, were already completed. You can watch the previous construction videos to see the cost and processes associated with those phases. So pretty much we are heading into the home straight. Phase 3, which involves dressing the walls, both exterior and interior, finishing the ceiling, installing the floor, building circular steps from the veranda, installing the conduits or PVC for the electrical wiring, installing all other relevant electrical accessories, and installing all materials that are associated with the plumbing becoming functional. These laborers have certainly mastered the art of mixing concrete with wash sand, cement, and water, and they seem to have a pretty good rhythm going to ensure that the mortar boards are consistently filled for the other workers who will be engaged in the rough casting and rendering processes. The overall labor cost for the contractor and 8 laborers to complete this phase is $547,000. Dressing the walls involves flashing the concrete mixture onto the blocks. These men are really good at flicking the wrist to ensure that the mixture sticks to the blocks. I tried to do it, but everything just ended up on the ground instead of onto the wall, so I know from experience that it takes a lot of practice to get it right. It is not a skill that can be perfected overnight. Therefore, you will always need the real professionals if you want the job to be properly completed. After the rough casting or flashing up process, it is the rendering, which involves mixing the granite sand with the cement and water. That mixture is what gives the wall the smooth surface finish. The rendering is the last stage of the wall making process before paint can be applied. Each section of the interior building was assigned 1 laborer to complete the rough casting and rendering activities to ensure smoother progression and quicker completion. The labor cost to rough cast and render the interior walls is $244,200. The cost to complete the exterior walls is $82,800. The main reason for the stark difference in cost for both walls is the dimension. The exterior is straight from one corner to the other, while the interior is divided in individual compartments of varying sizes, which makes it more technical to complete. This that I'm seeing here is a real rarity, getting a left-hander and a right-hander working together on one wall. It sure speeded up the completion of the rough casting process. These two guys are brothers and they completed this wall pretty quickly, working from either ends, then meeting in the middle. Watch closely and see if you can learn the technique of rough casting. One thing with these workers is they pay attention to details. They do not rush through and spoil the job. They believe in quality over quantity. hands on deck. They are working together to build this makeshift scaffolding to be able to reach the area just below the cantilever so they can rough cast that section properly. And of course, they have to give the structure the test run to see if it will be able to stand up to the weight. As trouble not set like rain, oftentimes we hear of laborers sustaining injuries on the construction sites because of weak, faulty structures. We really would not like to witness this structure collapsing with the worker and the mortar, so testing and making the necessary adjustments from the onset is very, very important. The cost to complete the floor is $80,000. Gravel is the only other element that is added to the wash sand and the cement mixture to ensure that the floor will be really solid. The mortar is first distributed at the desired height to 3 major sections of the floor, the 2 ends and the middle, then the areas in between are filled till completed. It is like creating 3 mountains, then filling in the valleys for that even look. As the mortar is poured, a straight edge, preferably the 2x4 lumber, is occasionally used to ensure an even spread throughout the entire building. Although the floor will be tiled, it has to be even from the get-go in order to avoid one section being higher or lower than the other. Since it is not a skate park that is being built, the entire area has to be even. The line is there to ensure that the height of the floor is consistent throughout the entire building. Now, durability is everything when it comes on to the flooring. Therefore, a lot of attention has to be given to this section because it is what will have to endure the weight from the furniture and trekking feet. You want the floor to be able to withstand the test of time and not crack after a mere 2 months. Even though it will be covered with tiles, if it is not properly completed from the onset, it will break easily under pressure. You want it to be designed to withstand earthquakes, intense heat, and constant earth movements. And there is really no great technicality in completing the floor, as once the correct line height is created, the proper consistency is mixed. It is a matter of just pouring, spreading, and smoothing the mixture. entire floor area is fully completed and ready to be nicely dressed with some porcelain tiles. The porcelain tiles are stronger than the ceramic ones, which crack very easily. So if you invest in the porcelain, then you cannot go wrong and you will definitely be getting value for your money. The cost to complete the ceiling is $60,000, and that really involves the regular rough casting and rendering processes. The cost to complete the window and the door jambs is $80,000, and those two generally go hand in hand. The cost really depends on the number of doors and windows, and for this particular project, it is 10 windows and 9 doors. It takes precise measurement to get the window and the door jambs straight and neat. This is not an activity that can or should be rushed, as if that square ruler ever shifts 1 inch, that window or door jamb is going to look as crooked as that of the old lady who lived in a shoe. And even with the ruler being used, good judgment is also required. This is one activity I know for sure I would not be able to do well, as I can never draw a straight line no matter how tightly I hold that ruler down. And that is why we leave certain things to certain people. And that wraps up the building activities for the mason and laborers. The overall labor cost for the mason and laborers together is $547,000. This is a summary of the major tasks undertaken by the mason and 8 laborers and the overall cost. Now, the overall labor cost to complete all the electrical related activities is $93,100. Bear in mind that every electrician will charge at a different rate. This quotation is based solely on this project, and these are my electrician's rates. Let me tell you something about my electrician. I have found him to be reasonable, honest, humble, and a true professional. I mean, working with people like him is such a rare blessing. This is not him, this is his assistant. The electrical activity is done in 2 phases. Phase 1 involves the cutting of wall and installation of conduits, and phase 2 involves the pulling of wire and termination. The cutting of wall is priced per point and the rate is $1,500. The installation of PVC per foot is $50, and the installation of boxes is $350 per box. This takes the overall total for phase 1 to $59,100. During phase 2, the conductors to panel and conductors to outlet are installed. The rate per unit for the conductors to panel is $500, and the rate per unit for the installation of conductors to outlets is $250. Termination is another very critical electrical activity. This is done at a rate of $250 per unit. The final step is the finishing, which is done at a rate of $150. This is where the electrician installs all the lighting accessories. The overall cost for phase 2 is $34,000. This is a summary of what is done in the 2 electrical phases and the associated costs. This now is a summary of the major plumbing activities done and the cost. The approximate cost for the purchasing and the delivery of aggregates was $600,000, and when we add up everything including electrical and plumbing materials, the total overall cost for material and labor was approximately $1.6 million. And as you undertake your construction projects, I wish you all the best, knowing how costly everything is becoming these days. Oftentimes we hear stories of people building their dream homes and they are cheated out of their hard earnings by dishonest contractors who simply disappear with the money before even one length of steel is driven into the ground. For some persons, the quality of work that they receive is quite substandard. There too are those homeowners who become so despondent after not being able to get what they paid for that they end up selling their property for way less than what it is actually valued. Others endure so much frustration during the construction process that they do not even live to spend one night in their dream homes, and that is simply heart-rending. And I am sure that you have heard of many stories such as these. You see, once you find good, honest workers, you have to give thanks because they do not come in wholesale quantity. They are very few and far between. And no bother run down the cheapest out there either, as sometimes the cheapest price may get you the cheapest looking work. As the saying goes, the cheapest might turn out to be the dearest, the most expensive. So try as best as you can to get someone who knows how to value work and is a true professional. Although this combination may be hard to find, trust me, they do exist.